Hey everybody. So this being my first video, I guess I should start by introducing myself. My name is Eddie. I'm a driver, car enthusiast all around. This is what I do for a living by choice. I've been driving professionally for 12 to 13 years now, I would say. Right now I'm doing my time is split 50-50 between driving for Uber, Lyft, and black car and the rideshare platforms, and driving privately for someone. Right now we're in a 2016 Mercedes Maybach. We got the lovely recliner seats back there, the dual panel sunroof, and so on and so forth. You get a good idea of the luxury living that some of the clients that I cater to enjoy. And right now we're waiting outside Republic Airport, which is a private jet company. And this is where I find myself a few times out the week, and this is partially my daily activities for the day. Today I'll be driving him for a few hours, and then most likely we'll get to some Uber Black and maybe some Lyft Lux, see how the day turns out. So this channel is gonna be mostly about driving car service, but cars altogether. I get to drive some of his toys for the fun, for the fun of it, and I get to enjoy driving, but it's also about venting about some of the issues that we come across as drivers, and not even just cab drivers. You have everybody from truck drivers to Amazon delivery guys to FedEx guys, UPS, just our day-to-day struggles as people who have to share the road with everything from pedestrians to cyclists to just crazy weather to you name it, and then for us, we get rude passengers, we get great fun passengers, we get everything from people from all walks of life, and our daily adventures, as I like to call them. And some people are cut out for this, some people are not. I would say if you have a reasonable amount of patience, this can be a fun job. This can be a job where you can create your own schedules. It has pros and cons like anything else. You can be there for example, I was there for my daughter throughout the pandemic school year, where everything was online, and I was fortunate enough to be able to sit next to her and make sure she was actually learning something, because a lot of the kids basically lost that year of school. And a lot of people didn't have that luxury, so I'm grateful for that. But then on the other hand, I'm also risking my my livelihood every time I go out there. God forbid I get into an accident, or even throughout the pandemic, we had to be even extra careful, because you're in a vehicle with within close quarters of the people or the person behind you. And you have also people who are out there up to no good. You have people that get robbed, you have drivers that get their cars taken, or God forbid even killed. But at the end of the day, we hope for the best. We go out there and try to make the best of it, and you gotta have a little bit of patience, because people on the road can drive like maniacs, and sometimes the drivers, we have to drive a little aggressive, to say the least, to make the most of our day. And hopefully you guys can bear with me through this journey, and we can show you a little bit of how we do every day, and the reason why some of us do it. And I definitely enjoy driving. This is partial, even if I didn't get to drive these high-end vehicles, and I enjoy driving overall. It's something that wanted to do since I was a kid. In terms, maybe not cab driver, obviously, but I definitely wanted to drive. Whether it's my other car is a show car. I'm into like the whole European car scene and everything. So for me, being around cars, detailing them, driving them, racing them, you name it, I'm a car guy all around. So hopefully you guys can stick around for this journey, and I hope to hear on your comments anything that you would like to maybe see on this channel. Just leave a comment below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, yada yada yada, and I'll see you in the next one. So the best thing about picking up at private planes as opposed to JFK or Newark or one of the local airports here in New York is they escort you right onto the tarmac, and these guys here put you right next to the planes where your passengers gets out and gets right into the car and you're off. It makes my life a lot easier, and it definitely makes for an easier pickup and travel time. So quite faster than your average airport pickup. Okay, so just dropped off my client, and brings us to the topic at hand. We're gonna go with top 5 pet peeves of driving for a living. And mind you, this is only a random top 5 because it's quite a bit more than 5 and a lot of things that take some getting used to. So we're gonna start off with number 5, which is high beams. What do I mean by high beams? You're driving down the road, it's dark, it's maybe sun's down, and all of a sudden you're blinded by somebody coming in the opposite direction, sometimes even behind you as well, but usually opposite direction, that has their high beams on and doesn't realize it, or maybe they do, they just don't realize how it's affecting the other people around them. And sometimes we flash them once or twice to see if they'll turn them off. Most of the times they don't. But it's one of my biggest pet peeves, because it really is, dangerous if you think about it. If you have somebody that you could be blinded for that, maybe for a second of time. When you are driving, for example, and somebody hits a puddle when there's a lot of rain on the floor, on the ground, and somebody hits a puddle on the other side of the road and it goes all over your windshield and just blinds you. That split second, can cause an accident. So imagine, the glare from somebody's high beam basically blinding you for a split second, where it can, create a distraction and basically cause you to, God forbid, have an accident. So that's my number 5 on my list, which is high beams. Let's move on to number 4. Number 4 would have to be impatient drivers. What do I mean by impatient drivers? You come up to a light, the light is red, you pull up, the split second the light turns green, we're talking within a millisecond, as your foot is reaching down on the accelerator, on the gas pedal, the person behind you hits the horn for no reason other than to hit the horn, because it's not gonna make your foot go any faster. I understand if you're, asleep at the wheel, or, like a lot of us, sometimes people, or, there's people that are texting. That's completely understandable. But I'm talking about the people that the second the light hits green, they're on the horn. The split second the light hits, and mind you, there's cities, there's streets in New York City here that have signs posted that is $350 fine for honking. These are no honking zones in New York City. Doesn't make a difference. They still manage to hit that horn. Never seen anybody get a fine for honking the horn, but regardless, this is one of my pet peeves. I don't know how you feel about it. Maybe you are that person that hits the horn the second. put it this way. I've been in a racetrack where what they call the Christmas tree, which it goes from yellow down to green, and you have that reaction time is got to be as quick as possible. These people just hit the horn the second the light turns green. They're man, and you're like, all right, really. But yeah, that's my number 4 on my list. Number 3 on my list. Number 3 would have to be left lane zombies. What is a left lane zombie? Very simple. You're on the highway. This is, mind you, this is something that when I took my exam to get a license many years ago, there was a rule, or there is a rule that's, I don't know if it's a rule or a law, that states that slow moving traffic, sometimes there's signs on the side of the highway, should remain on the right. The left lane is for passing only. Now, I did inquire about this with highway patrolmen, friends of mine, and they have told me that in New York City, or at least within the 5 boroughs and the tri-state area, there's not enough space to really enforce this rule of law, which states that the left lane is for passing only. Now, what does that mean? If the speed limit is 65 and you're doing 50, stay on the right. Don't stay on the left-hand side. And that's not to say you should be doing 100 on the left, but people that are doing 70, 75, and or maybe they're in a bit of a rush, you should, considerably, at least be considerate. Move over to the middle or to the right lane if you're going to be driving slow. And if you want to pass somebody, go on the left, and by all means. But again, this is something that is enforced here in New York City. Outside the city, I know of people that have gotten a fine for slowing down. Actually, my brother got pulled over once because I guess they give you, the cop was following him for, I'm guessing 2 or 3 miles. They give you a certain amount of time to be on the left lane. And if there's nobody there or nobody to pass, you should move back over to the right. So it's one of those things that, I wish more people would teach when they're teaching other people how to drive, because, left lane zombies. Number 2 on my list, and this is one that might not sit right with some people, because some people ride bicycles. I love bikes. I used to ride motorcycles and bicycles as a kid, but I never rode on the streets, especially not on the streets of New York. Maybe if I did, I might, as I was riding to the park or whatnot. But for the most part, now here in New York City, we have these rental bicycles, or city bike as they call them. I hate those things. Now, that's besides the point. All they're doing is taking up parking spaces in a lot of areas, like mine, for example, where rather than putting them on the sidewalk, near the parks or something, they decide to take up 4 or 5 parking spaces and put them right in the middle of the street, because everything is made easier for the pedestrian, not for the drivers. Don't even get me started on that. Now, the reason why the bicycles are a pet peeve of mine is precisely because of that. I have no problems at all with cyclists who know what they're doing, who will follow the rules, but there's not a lot of them out there. I mean, from what I see, as somebody who drives these streets every day, you have cyclists that you'll be going down one street where the bike lane is on the left, and you'll have more bikes on the right. You have them on both sides, but you'll have them just basically on both sides. So if you're trying to bear right not to hit the guy on the bike lane, there might be another bike on the other side of you. It's just, rather than following the rules and being considerate to cars as well, which, don't get me wrong, a lot of cars don't see the bikes. They get hit also a lot of times because this city was just truly not designed in a way where bicycles are to be all over the place. When I was growing up, the only place to ride a bike was the park. It wasn't everybody going around in rental bikes all over the place. But again, to each his own. The whole thing is follow the rules. I mean, if you see that I'm making a left turn and I might not be able to see you, because sometimes as you're making that turn, even if you look over your shoulder, they're right at your blind spot, and then they get upset at you for not seeing them, even though I'm turning as slow, as I possibly can, not to, the last thing I want is to hit anyone. And it's no use. It's very, this city's become swarmed with bicycles. You have, a lot of tourists that come here. They haven't gotten a bike since they were 10 years old. And they decide, let's go for a joyride on a bicycles, in one of the busiest cities, most traffic heavy city in the world. And, accidents happen. And like I said, the last thing any of us want is to hit anyone on a bicycle, and I seen, again, much power to the guys that, like the bike messengers in the city, and those guys, they fly and they know what they cut you off from time to time, but those guys know what they're doing. Those guys know how to ride, and they know. But then you have the people that just scratch up cars left and right. They're hitting pedestrians on the sidewalks. They're all over the place. You see them trembling, trying to get across on the bikes, and those are the people I'm talking about. And that's my number 2. And your number 1 pet peeve, at least according to me, is, how can I frame this? Distracted pedestrians. What do I mean by that? This city, as well as pretty much the entire nation, laws are made to protect pedestrians. I get it. We're in a car. Pedestrians should always have the right of way because they're on foot. But if I hit someone, God forbid, because they were walking and texting, I should not be held liable for that. And why do I say this? Happened just recently. I'm driving down, I'm doing 20 miles, not even 25, I'm doing 20 miles per hour. It's dark, it's damp because it was drizzling. There's a young lady about to cross the street. I have eyes on her. She doesn't even make the slightest attempt to look up and look to see if, not even if the light was green or if there was any cars coming. None of that. And as I'm driving, all of a sudden I see that she is about to just walk right into the middle of the street. But I'm expecting that at any second she's gonna stop and she's gonna look and say, oh, wait a minute, the light is green, or wait, there's a car coming, and she's gonna stop. She does not. So as I get closer and closer, I finally see, so I brake to the point where I almost had to slam on my brakes. So the car even slid very slightly because it was damp, like I said. And she, I pressed the horn as I brake. So she jumps, kind of like startled, drops her phone, and as she's picking it up, she starts cursing me out and going off on me about, oh, F this, F and that, and she's cursing at me because I almost hit her. In her mind, thankfully I wasn't somebody who was unaware of the road conditions, or maybe I was texting myself. No, in her mind, I'm wrong, she's right. I didn't just save her life by actually pressing the brake. And that to me was just absolutely insane. I cracked my window open, and after she was done yelling, I just looked at her and I said, you're welcome. Please stay off your phone when you're crossing the street. To which she replied by more cursing me out and giving me the finger, which typical New York response to especially the cab drivers, which, by the way, I know you guys that drive for a living, delivery guys, cab, yellow cabs, Ubers, Lyft, all you guys know that people just, they don't want to let us merge, they don't want to, but anyway, that's besides the point. Point is, distracted pedestrians are one of my biggest pet peeves. They walk across, without looking, on their phone. Sometimes they're crossing the streets in between two parallel parked cars and just run out in the middle of the street. And like I said, we do this for a living. We don't want to hit anyone and be faced with losing our livelihoods and the way we put food on our table. So please, if any pedestrians are watching this and people that don't, give us a break, man. Like, just be a little more aware of, and again, I know there's a lot of a-hole drivers out there that but please just teach your kids. That's how I do with my daughter. I make sure she's not on her phone when she's walking, or when she's about to cross the street, and come on, it's the least you can do, And I hope you guys enjoyed the video thus far. Like I said, it doesn't hurt to click like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments how you feel about any of these. Feel free to add some of your personal pet peeves, or comment on, if you had any similar experiences. I'm sure we all have. And, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.